somebody and they, so, you know, we just, they let them know.
Like the very first time that we did it, it popped up and I had my picture
I
on
think
it.
she said they
And after that,
away
like,
2009.
in the middle of that one, it shut.
You're back on second.
I have some.
So yeah, if I mute this while you're talking, it should
And,
hopefully.
I will just-
I always have to talk for about 5 minutes about nothing, and you guys can't hear me. Okay, thank you, Peggy. All right. What is that? Okay. Okay, where's Brad? Brad's got the moon. There's Brad. I'm like, meanie? What's meanie? All right. I was like, what is this text? All right. Do you guys know it's the blue moon? It's the blue moon today. Second blue moon in 150 years. So whatever you do, get outside and howl at it. Do whatever you got to do. 1886 was the last time we had a blue moon like this. All right. So I'm in the airport looking like an idiot talking to you all. You can hear me? Thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay. These guys keep going past me with these carts. So if it's loud and you can't hear me when the cart goes by, I will move. Hopefully they keep coming. Quit coming. So I'm on my way to Dallas to go speak the leadership program. And I'm just going to tell you, because I only get to speak for 10 minutes. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to say there. I'm going to practice with you guys right now, okay? You guys cool with that? So this leadership forum is a dedication to my father, Bill Nasby, who started the company and was responsible for making Exit happen. And my dad had, you all had a spark, Lori, Peggy, Misty, Brad. There was a spark inside of you that got ignited at some point when somebody introduced you to Exit. A spark went and caught on, and you made the shift to Exit. Well, for my dad, it wasn't a spark, it was an inferno. And he was so passionate about Exit because he was excited about the idea for people to work at 100%. Bill took that idea to work at 100%, and he quickly ran out and he started to talk to everybody and anybody he could talk to. Now, Bill was in the top 100 of RE/MAX for several years, okay? So he was speaking for RE/MAX. He was pretty made in the shade. He was pretty comfortable at 67. And Steve came to him because Bill had gone from being in the top 100 to also being, several years later, the #1 referral agent in North America. And I want you to know how he became that #1 referral agent. My dad believed in sharing everything, almost too much. But my dad shared everything. And he had a grade 5 education. And he was one of the most educated people I've ever met in my life. He was self-taught because he was curious and thirsty. And he came out of the Depression, out of a little tiny town in Saskatchewan. A stump farm is where he came off of. And he was thirsty and curious about life. And so he educated himself. And when my dad was educated about something, he would go out and talk about it. So he was educated about Exit, and he had such a passion, so he went out and he just started to share it with everyone. Before that education, he started to, he had a real thing with personal development. So whether it was Og Mandino or Zig Ziglar or Leland Val Vanderwall or whoever it was, Bill studied them. And every time he studied something and he took something away that made him a little more educated, he would also make what we started in the office, notes to ponder. And so he would come back to the office with whatever he had learned, and we would turn it into a little tiny couple paragraph essay that we would then send out to every single agent in RE/MAX. Why did Bill do that? He didn't have to do it. He was in the top 100 already, and he was making very large income, and he had a really dialed in farm area. So why would he do it? Because my dad loved to share. If Brad would have ran into my dad at an open house and said, "Hey, Nasby, you still door knocking?" He would have said, "Yes, I am, Brad. I'm going out at 4:00. Why don't you join me?" And he'd take Brad to the doors. Or he'd see Peggy at a listing presentation or at an offer presentation, and she would ask him about the doors, and he'd say, "Why don't you come out with me? I'm going out tomorrow at 4:00. And he'd take everybody to the doors. He was not worried about competition, not for 1 second. He was invested in creation. And so my dad was in this habit of sharing everything. And what that led to was when Steve came to him and said, "Let's start this company," he had this unbelievable database because now he was the #1 referral agent in North America, just from sending love. Just by going to a seminar, getting ignited, compartmentalizing it on paper, and sending it out from this loving perspective and teaching somebody something, all these agents started to know him. So when Exit came around and he had the opportunity to work at 100%, He has very entrepreneurial type mindset. An entrepreneur, what they do is they provide a service that serves a problem. So they problem solve and they provide a service. An exit certainly problem solves and it provides a service. Not only does it do it at a client community level, it also does it at an agent broker level. It also does it at a broker regional level, right? And so Bill started to go out and share this story. And what happened was his passion could be felt. You'd sit across from him and you would feel his passion and he would ignite people's sparks. And next thing you know, he built Exit. Now, he didn't have ambassador. He didn't have field day. He didn't have mindset training. They had nothing. They didn't even have letterhead when Bill started this company. There was no head office. There was no website. So when I hear agents say, well, I don't have I got to wait till I get my website, or I got to wait till my cards are, well, I got to wait till my, you keep waiting till the cows come home. You will be waiting because you're making up excuses. Ignite with the passion. Ignite with the thing that fuels your vessel. Ignite with what makes you feel good and go out and share it. There's no difference between door knocking and selling houses and talking to agents and sponsoring them into the company. There's no difference between sponsorship and door knocking. When we're door knocking, this is what we're doing, you guys. We're taking a farm area, which is really a database, right? We just claim it for ourselves and we go through and we go, are you moving or not moving? 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 No, you're not moving. You're not moving. Oh, you're moving. Great. Let me go to work and help you. You're not moving. You're not moving. Oh, great. Let me go to work and help you. And when you're working with sponsorship, it's the same thing. You're going and you're talking to people and you're interviewing them and saying, so how's your experience? What's it like for you in your real estate company? What's going on? How do you like it? Are you enjoying it? And then what we're saying, Paul, is they're telling us their problems and we're saying, I got a solution to your problem. Let me share my solution. Let me share it with you. Let me share what I'm so jacked up about. And when you share that, that felt intention ignites another spark. Do you have to be working at 100% yourself to go out and sponsor? No. You just have to feel the passion about what you're doing. That's all. Do you have to be selling a lot of houses to be able to go out and sponsor? No. You just have to be able to understand the concept and talk about it. So my dad did what he did with nothing. We have the opportunity to do it with ambassador and field day and performance training and everything else that's available to us that Steve and Tammy and everyone has created so that we could be more articulate and look more professional and have better marketing. All of that, my dad would say, is over service and icing on the cake. You don't really need that to go be successful in this business or as a sponsor. You just need to get in front of people and talk to them and build relationships. And what is building relationships? Why don't we all want to build relationships? Because we have limiting beliefs about ourselves. That's why. Because we second guess ourselves or we judge ourselves or we're too critical of ourselves. So the idea that they're doing this dedication around leadership for my father is super appropriate. And I accept in his honor, he'd be tickled pink to know that he is leading all the people in this company to do what he did. I just want you to know he did it without any of the tools that we have. And he did it only because he was curious, he was then educated, and he was invested. Right? Does that make sense to everyone? All right. Well, you can't talk. I just have sitting ducks here, so I'm just going to carry on with my whole lesson. All right. So I had a guy, I have to say this too, I had a guy say to me at the airport, well, it is what it is. And I went, if you say so. And he looked at me and he said, pardon me? And I said, I dislike that statement. And he said, well, it's true. And I said, if you think so, it is what it is means you've accepted the circumstance and you're selling yourself out to a limited situation. So if you want something different, change your attitude. And he said, well, we can't change the situation. And I said, you're right. You can't change the situation that the plane is not leaving because there's a fog that has not lifted. You're 100% right. But we can change the feeling around it. We can't change the fact that somebody wants to divorce us. We can't change the fact that somebody has spent the money. We can't change the fact that a buyer's decided to go with another agent. We can't change that outcome. So then people say, well, it is what it is. And I say, change your attitude around it. Change the way you feel around it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how you guys have the power to change how you're feeling. Bless you, Misty.
Thank you.
So-
Excuse me.
So my 7-year-old came to me and she said, Mama, I want superpowers. Tallulah said this. She goes, I want superpowers. And I said, well, you have superpowers. I said, what kind of superpowers do you want? She said, well, I want to be invisible so I can like sneak in and hear people talking and they won't know I'm there. And she said, I want to be able to read people's minds. And I said, all right, well, you know what? You kind of already have superpowers. And she said, what do you mean? And I said, nobody's shared this with you? She said, what do you mean? And I said, well, you have the ability to read people's minds. If you study personality profiling, which you've already started doing the little kid stuff and doing the BOTS program for personality profiling. And so when you really know how to read when you really understand personalities, you can walk in front of somebody and just on the doorstep, I tell my agents, you can identify a personality based on how they opened up the door and how their body language is. And now you know how to access them. She said, what other kind of superpowers? And I said, well, you have the ability to create anything you want to create, honey. You have the ability to create whatever you want. She goes, well, how do we do that? I said, you assume the wish is fulfilled. You figure out what it is you really want, Lori, and then you just practice feeling that way. That's it. And you will attract whatever it is you were focusing on. And she said, she rolled her eyes and walked away, is what she did. Okay, so then I have to read you this text. This will all make sense. I know I'm going in circles here. So listen to this. This is a good one. I checked in on one of my agents I can't coach this week. I've been coaching this guy for 4 years. He was very negative when he came to me. So negative that I could barely handle coaching him. He said to me today, my week has a lot going on already. There's a relative who has stepped in on my $4 million listing. Okay, there's about, an $80,000 commission there. There's a relative who has stepped in on my listing. The older lady in the care home who owns the home and her son is now stepping in and he's crushed a lower cash offer, which in this market was a mistake. He's the one who's being coached by a shadow realtor in Richmond and wants me fired. Yay. And he tried to get me to cut my commission, which was an instant hard no. He said, well, my realtor cut her commission when we sold my house and didn't get the money I wanted. Me. Then you hired a crappy negotiator. And then he goes on to talk about this. Okay, so he said, so this is my world, or the realtor part of it anyways. And I said to him, you better balance on this, which is what I'm going to teach you guys how to do today. And I said, stay in the light. That's your job right now. Stay in the light, in your consciousness of the light. He said, stay in the light. Yes, that's the way to go. I am awesome. His game is to question everything I do, to undermine everyone's confidence in me. The good news is the owner and her daughter, the other relative, fully know what he's like because they've had a lifetime of him. Anyways, let me tell you this, Erica, today. He said, meditation is so great. I needed to regain myself, and I did through meditation. I went to the gym, and I remembered that the world is a friendly place. I remembered to stop caretaking that one client because there is a story about defending my seller from her own son. There's a story there for me, he was saying. Realize that there is a big picture going on and dismiss the fear of lack going on with that sale for me. Again, $80,000 commission. Like, how often does that come along? There has been a big story built up in the background about that commission because of its size and the fact that I have big plans for this year for my band. He plays in a pretty prominent band and he's recording an album. It points out that I've been falling into being other referred as opposed to being self-referred, into being reactive instead of deciding what I want today and being proactive, putting the distraction of being perfect ahead of choosing to see the possibilities that come from co-creating with the universe as opposed to trying to steer everything and then worrying about it caving in on me at that moment. Have a fantastic day. And I just said to him, well, I don't even need to catch my flight. I could just fly to Dallas now. I'm so stoked to hear you say that. Here's a guy who said that he's practicing meditation and staying in the light, changing where his head's at, when there's a $70,000, $80,000 commission just sitting there in the balance. Some will, some won't. So what? Next. Is that a tall order for that man today? How many people get how tall order that is? It's taken him many, many years to be able to step back and not engage in that. How do you do that? I want to teach you how to do that, guys. There's only two places we can come from in the world. We can come from love, or we can come from fear. And I want you to think about and maybe jot down a couple notes, like, what does love mean? Love for me is walking in nature. When I get off a coaching call with you guys or people I'm working with, I feel love in my heart as I go down for lunch. I feel love going to Dallas, having everybody dedicate this to my paw. There are certain things that I can go sit by the ocean and I feel love. Right? What are the things that you do that you know are love? Because love isn't 24/7 for me, man. It just isn't. It's conditional too. I get frustrated. I get short-tempered. I get fed up. But I spent 5 hours on Sunday in a sweat lodge. And what I took out of my sweat was stay in the light. Stay in the light no matter what's going on around me. So if somebody's moaning and complaining, which is easy to do, stay in the light and don't go there. So I got home from my sweat and I said goodbye to my babysitter. And I walked into my house and there was paint on the kitchen table, the dining room table, my bathroom faucet in my bedroom. There was acrylic paint all over the clothes that my children were wearing, and it was now dried in front of the washing machine, not in the washing machine. There was paint, you name it, there was paint all over that house. I was still finding paint this morning from Sunday. And my other friend called to see how my sweat had gone. And I went, well, let me tell you about Kalika, the babysitter. And I was about to go off on it. And I went, it was a perfect day and Kalika just left and my kids are happy and laughing. And they were. And there was art everywhere. I resisted all that temptation to drop my vessel and engage in something that I was frustrated by. My inclination is to go into the bitch and moan. But I pulled myself out of it and I kept coming from love. If I teach you or share with you one thing that's empowering today, let it be to stay in your light. That's your job today, to stay in your light no matter what's going on. So what is love for you? You know what it is. That's love, Stephanie. That little being there, that little guy, that's love. Right there, that's love. We just all got to witness it. Sweetness. So what is fear? Let me explain what fear is. Fear is our child. Let me explain it. Do you know that every single child's born optimistic? Every single child's born optimistic. If you stand outside of an amusement park and kids are coming out of that park and you say, well, how was the park? They'll say, oh my gosh, the roller coaster was amazing and the cotton candy and oh my gosh, it was such a fun day. And if you talk to every adult that comes out of the park, they'll say, well, the lines were really long and it was really expensive and the hot dogs were, well, you know. Pessimism is a learned trait. So we teach kids how to be pessimistic. The good news is we can also teach kids how to be optimistic. We can retrain their brains. So I have a little guy who's a little negative. He's my firstborn, and he's a little bit of a pessimist. So he's the first one to go to glass half empty. And I will say to him, because it's my job, because I trained him to be pessimistic, it's my job to say to him, oh, Max, yeah, that's cool, but what's another way of saying that? And I get tired of doing that, but I guess that's the price I pay for somehow being on top of him too much and controlling him too much and being that overbearing mother waiting for him to blink and then going, oh my gosh, he blinked, right? You know, the firstborn, how we're all over them like a dirty shirt. And we're critical and we just want them to be successful. So they clean up the room and then we go in and say, well, that's awesome. Oh, but you know what? If you just move that pillow a little bit like that and move that stuffy like that, it'd be so much better because I just want you to be the best ever, right? And we teach them pessimism. So children at a certain age, at a very young age, usually around 3 or 4, this pessimism starts to develop. But it's not pessimism of the world around them as much as it is pessimism and judgment around themselves. So we can either come from love, which is a beautiful thing, or we can come from fear, which is a childlike thing. It's a child who doesn't have any control. Children don't have control because we make choices what they're going to eat, what they're going to wear, when they're going to go, how they're going to do it, right? So children grow up in this world with very little control. And then what we do to these kids, we pull the rug out from underneath them and we freak out on them. We have moments. We are, we're tapped out. We're exhausted. We're emotionally fending for ourselves in relationships. We're dealing with finances. And so we react and we yell. And in some cases, in a lot of our generations, we've been hit. And, up until the age of 3, we're completely dependent on our parents, right? We're completely dependent on them to keep us warm, to keep us fed. Unlike any other being on the planet, we really need to be cared for. And so what happens when this person who's nurturing you and loving you and caring for you, if that's the case, turns around and loses it on you? How's that kid left feeling? They're left feeling scared, traumatized, and trauma. I'm going to use the word trauma a lot because trauma is when you're left feeling surprised and scared at the same time. So when mom loses her mind and freaks out and you're scared because that's unusual behavior for a mama, and then it comes out of the blue, that's trauma, right? So we're all traumatized. Don't worry about it. We all got to share our trauma. Even if you had the most loving charm parents, I'd say take the Charm Child Challenge. Okay, I took the Charm Child Challenge once upon a time. And did my mom ever yell at me? Sure she did. Did my dad and mom ever spank me? Of course they did. Did my parents ever do stuff that shocked me? Yeah, of course they did. They were normal human beings, right? So did I have a charm child? Did my parents ever divorce? Yeah, they did. So that's all trauma, right? Am I okay? I'm okay. I was loved. Not everybody's loved. And they experience trauma on top of that, right? So when I say, are you coming from your child? You're coming from this place of fear and pessimism. Here's another example. We were going hiking up a mountain here, a local mountain. And we started our 2-hour ascent. And somebody had dropped a banana in the parking lot. My little guy, who was quite little at the time, I think he was 5, said, Max, my oldest, was 5, and he said, Mama, somebody dropped a banana in the parking lot. And I said, you're right, somebody did drop a banana in the parking lot. And he goes, why'd they drop the banana? And I said, must have fallen out of their backpack. For 2 hours, that child asked me why that banana fell out of that backpack. For 2 hours, he kept talking about that banana to the point that we went from saying it fell out of the backpack to talking about evolution. That's where that conversation went. Like, we told that kid upside and down why the banana fell out of the backpack. He just wouldn't accept it. That's how kids are. Why? Why is that happening? Why'd she say that to me? Why'd she yell at me? Why did he just hit me? Why are they ignoring me? Why are they fighting? Why? Right? And that's how kids grow up, in that world of why. And it's a great place to be, but it's also where we take on all that fear for the first time in our lives. So I'm going to ask you a question. When you start to have feelings, I'm going to ask yourself, who am I being right now? Am I being love? Or am I being my child? And if you're negative or arrogant or frustrated or egotistical or sad or blue or depressed or bored or frustrated, I think I already said that, it means you're coming from your child. Right? So I want you to be really aware of where am I coming from? Am I coming from child or am I coming from my love? Now, I can't ask you guys this week, so I can't ask you if you're getting the difference between love and child. If you're getting the difference of the two people you can always be at any given time, give me a thumbs up. You can either be love or you can be your child, okay? So I'll give you an example. Here in the airport, I got off a flight 2 years ago. I don't know where I was coming back from. I think I was coming back from Dallas. But I landed, and I texted as the plane parked, and I said, hey, plane's parking. Where are you guys? Because I thought my 3 kids and my husband were picking me up, because they always pick me up. And Chuck said, take the SkyTrain. That's all he said, take the SkyTrain. And I was like, take the SkyTrain? I was quite offended by this whole ordeal. And as I was dragging my sorry butt across the airport to get up to the SkyTrain, I was fuming mad. And then I had this awareness that I was fuming mad. So part of me saw me being angry. And I said, who am I being right now? Well, who was I being? I was being my pout child. I was totally offended that they weren't picking me up. I'd just been gone for days. I was sad that they didn't want to see me and that I wasn't their first priority. I was like, why wouldn't they pick me up? Well, there's a million reasons why. 3 kids, dinner, a dog, laundry, school the next day. There's a lot of reasons why Chuck wouldn't pick me up. But I didn't see any of that. I was just stuck in the poor me. You know, like when a kid goes like this, nobody listens to me. Nobody ever listens to me. I can't believe nobody's listening to me. Or you don't like me. Have you ever heard kids say this? Very common. And so I was having one of those moments. So when I got home, to make things worse, there was a note on the door that said, don't forget to walk the dog. And by this time it was midnight. And I'd just been flying for I don't know how long, because it takes me forever to get back to the West Coast. So now I had to walk the dog. So now I was really ramped up. So I went to bed. And as I walked upstairs to get into my bedroom, all the laundry that I had left before I left, all folded, was still sitting folded in all the bundles at the top of the stairs. So that just added to my child's mix. So I climbed into bed and I rolled over and I didn't cuddle. And I was my own little independent island just going to bed. Oh, look, my husband just texted me. His ears must be burning. So as I was lying there, I said to myself, who am I being again? I'm still stuck in my child. And I said, okay, what are you feeling? Is the next question I asked myself. And I said, well, I'm feeling unloved is how I'm feeling. And then I said to myself, okay, well, give yourself permission to feel unloved. I'm going to teach you guys how to do this. So I sat there in bed, curled up in a ball, and I was feeling unloved. And I said, where do I feel it? And I felt it in my chest. It felt like an elephant was sitting on my chest. And I could feel it. And I said, oh my gosh, what is with all these delivery people at the airport? I had no idea. I said, where do I feel it in my chest? What color is it? It was red or something. It was big and inflamed. What size is it? Size of a dinner plate. So I just sat there with this feeling in my chest. And then I said, subconscious, because your body is your subconscious, the most powerful part of you. Well, not super conscious, this is more powerful, but I'll teach you about that right away. So I asked my subconscious, and my subconscious pops this moment up in my head. Now today I can't recall what that was, but it was a moment from when I was a kid. And it was probably something to do with my siblings and them being mean to me or something. And so I recounted the story, and then I said, what's the limiting belief behind that story of my siblings being mean to me? And the limiting belief was, I'm not lovable. I'm not lovable. So then I pulled myself out of this little state, and I said, am I lovable as a grown woman who just went and flew across North America to do a seminar to change people's lives and bring abundance back to my family and my level of consciousness and all the stuff that I have going on? Am I lovable? Of course I'm lovable. Who are you lovable to, Erica? Well, I'm lovable to me first. Do you love you? And I was like, well, sure I do. Well, apparently you don't, because you're having this pout moment. So maybe you need to just invest some love in yourself right now. So go back and talk to that little girl who was being harassed by her brothers and sisters. So I went back to that little moment. Keep circling with me here. That moment where whatever the story was that I came up with, and I asked my subconscious what the limiting belief was, or the story was where I last felt like this. And I went back and I talked to like a 5-year-old version of myself. So I literally talked to 5-year-old Erica. I know this is weird, but I said, hey, Erica, I'm so sorry you felt like you weren't lovable, and I'm so sorry your brothers and sisters were being mean. Yes, that was mean. But you're a divine child of God, and you are unlimited beauty and power, and you came from love, and you came from optimism, and you came from possibility, and I'm so sorry you had that yucky experience. But here I am, fast forward 40 some odd years, and you know what? I'm conscious, and I'm capable, and I make choices, and I'm pretty lovable, and because I love myself now. Because I get that I don't have to wait for my mom or my dad or my siblings to say that I'm okay. I've learned all these years how to just take responsibility and show up for myself. So I had this little conversation with 5-year-old me, still in the fetal position, curled up in bed like an island, not touching anybody. And I wake up in the morning, and there's this little love note on my nightstand, and it says, we are so sorry we didn't pick you up last night. We adore you, and we're so glad you're home with us, and we can't wait to spend the weekend with you. Movie night tonight? ? Now, what happened there? I don't know if that note got put there that night or in the morning, but I'm pretty sure it got placed there in the morning. And I'm pretty sure that note got placed there because my vibration changed because I let go of my pout and I went in and I did some work to consciously love myself to shift where I was feeling, which is the exact same thing that guy did with the $4 million listing in his meditation. He went in and he figured out that he had a story running about all that commission because it was the biggest commission he was ever going to get. And he had a story running that chances of me getting that are nil because I've never got a commission like that before. My dad never got a commission like that before. My grandma never got a commission like that before. My dog's never had a commission like that before. Pretty sure I'm not worthy to have a commission like that. And he had lowered his vibration so low that he had to go into a meditation to go and love that smaller version of himself to raise it back up to be able to sell that house. I bet you he sells that house. So you can literally, and this is the magic that I'm trying to teach to Lula, you can literally shift your vibration or re-engage the energy in your vessel by going in and having accountability for your emotions. Like I've explained this in probably the worst, least articulate way today because I'm sitting in the airport. So he probably thinks I'm a freak. But I want to teach you how to do this because now I can be walking down the street and realize that I feel insecure because somebody canceled on me or because somebody failed me in some way. And I can go right in, find out what got triggered and go in and heal it in just a matter of steps. Is anybody interested in learning how to do this so you don't have to walk around feeling insecure anymore? Yeah? If you're on this planet, which I assume you are because I can see you all, you belong to Planet Club, I'm not worthy, or Planet Club, I'm not lovable, or Planet Club, I'm stupid, or Club Planet, nobody ever listens to me. We all have the same memberships. We really all do. So I'm going to teach you how to identify those, go in and shift them so that you can have abundance and love and you can meet your goals and you can attract something different into your life without just hearing me in the background saying, change your attitude. Take responsibility for your vessel. Because that's not enough for all of us. Some of us need a little bit more tactical type approach to be able to shift what's going on. Does that make sense? So I have lots of great examples of how clients have done this and how I do this. And I'm going to teach you step by step next week how to identify your emotions, how to take responsibility for your emotions, how to transition your emotions to change the outcome. No more of this, it is what it is baloney. Because the minute you do this, the is what it is changes. And I can guarantee that. Does that sound good? Misty, yeah?
Yes.
You're looking very cool today. Looking very She looks so chic.
Good to know.
And look at Lori smiling. Yay. Okay, next week in the office, I'm going to Skype in on a laptop. We're going to have two systems going at once. So I'm going to be able to see you guys up close. Like I can see Stephanie and Paul. And Paul, are you at a bar or your kitchen? You look like you're at a bar. It couldn't be. He's not at a bar. Too early. What time is it there? Well, it's 2:00. Are you at home?
We had,
Yes.
we had a pipe break, so I'm just trying to find a place where I can put my computer.
Awesome. Okay, good stuff. All right, you guys. Well, thank you for being on the call today and tolerating all the noise. It's noisier than I anticipated. And by 11 o'clock, the airport starts to get a little bit busy. Anyway, so I'm on my way to Dallas. Do you think my leadership thing will fly?
Yes, that's
Gotta
good.
dial it in a little more. But thank you for listening to me and thank you for letting me share all this stuff that I'm inspired by. And I look forward to working with you guys next week. Okay?
Thank you, Erica.
Okay. Be well, guys. Bye.